Greetings once again. Welcome back to another edition of Storytime with Electric Avenue Music. I'm here to give you the new releases that have hit the store shelves this week. We're talking June 2025, June 13th. Friday the 13th, that kind of been... I never liked Friday the 13th, but they come. What can you do about it, right? So, interesting, sad week we've had in the music world. We lost Sly Stone, his soundtrack records right there for the documentary that Questlove just did. We lost Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, and that was also tragic. And for industrial heads, we lost Douglas McCarthy of Nitzer Ebb. I prefer Nitzer. Yeah, industrial music of the 80s, and really some pretty cool stuff. And I remember buying a lot of their records early on. In fact, I think I even bought their CD, one of their, I want to say reunion CD, but it was about 10 or 15, maybe 15 years ago. They put out a record, Industrial Complex. I think I have that CD somewhere. Anyway, tragic losses, and Douglas was very young, 58. So, hey, the world is against us. I think the elements are trying to tell us something, so you have to enjoy every day, right? So that's what I'm here for, showing you the new stuff. I always start with the big stuff first. This week, it's another big set, this time from the one and only Metallica, and it's their Load box set. And at this point in time, you're saying to yourself, thank God the video is in the right frame this week, because last week, I don't know if you noticed, but I had some issues with getting things flipped backwards and loading them, and it was not pretty. So hopefully this goes a little better this week. Yeah, Metallica's Load box. This is one of those super deluxe type things, around $275 for this. Yeah, 15 CDs, 6 LPs, 4 DVDs, 245 unreleased tracks, and loads more. Includes the Load album remastered on 180-gram vinyl and CD, the original extended cut of the Outlaw Torn, Mama Said picture disc, Loadapalooza triple live LP, 6 CDs of demos, rough mixes, B-sides, and rarities, 8 live CDs, 4 live and behind the scenes DVDs, yada yada, lyric folder, lyric poster, magazine cover. I mean, Metallica pulls out all the stops, even for albums that some find sort of in the second tier, but I think fans really love this album. It still is like, well, it's prime era Metallica. It came right after the Black Album. So, I mean, it might not be the first album that some people, that Metallica fans think about, but it was good, and then it was followed by Reload. And then it was followed by the S&M Symphonic Project, I believe. So, anyway, Load out on box set. It's like you need to be working out to carry some of these things. All right. Another one this week. Let's see. Let me get my stuff here. Oasis and the Time Flies box set. This is a greatest hits box set. This had come out on CD many years ago. Then it was a record store day thing this year. Was one of the most highly coveted releases, and they only had 950 for the US, I think, out of the 4,000 that were made or something like that. And those went fast, like super fast, like the first 2 customers or whatever got them for us. So anyway, this is the complete Oasis singles collection, 4 LP, heavyweight vinyl, includes Wonderwall, Whatever, which Whatever is a great song, and it was only released in the UK as a single, or well, not in America. I should say other places it was too, but hit #1 in the UK, didn't release it here. All right. Don't look back in anger, live forever, roll with it, and stop crying your heart out. Yeah, whatever didn't even end up on an album. So, but here it is, and you'll get that. This is a great set. I think they did a really nice job with this, and with all the big Oasis concerts coming up, that is going to be another heavily wanted thing that runs in the 125 range. So 4 records. I know. Look, I was I was trying not to really talk too much about pricing and all that stuff lately, because I think you can get really bogged down on that in videos, and especially with like, you know, all sorts of different prices of all the different versions of things. I mean, I'm now looking at prices of things like mobile fidelity type releases going. There's no way I'm even going to come close to carrying that, because it's just, or the UHQR things, they're just kind of outrageous for indie stores. But even turntables, and I mentioned this, I know there's been sort of talk about tariff pricing and such like that, but I've noticed a big increase in turntables lately, mainly because they're made from metal parts that come from China. And so we carry a line of Audio-Technica records, or turntables. I was noticing the other day that the one that I was normally selling for about 150 is now up to 200, and the one that I was selling for 220 is now up to 300. So whether or not the tariffs have actually kicked in, the companies that are making these things are already counting on the fact that everything is going to be more. So America, I'm just letting you know, those kinds of things will have effects, and we'll be paying more, which I'm like, that's not good, because I want to get young people interested in collecting vinyl, and if they can't afford the turntables to play the vinyl on, it is a kind of a circular issue where it's like, well, then I'm not going to bother getting into it because it's too expensive. So for things that were supposedly going to lower our prices, this is not what it seems to be happening. So that's enough of that. I'm not getting political here. I'm just putting that out there, as I'm not happy about that. All right. Who would be if you were a store owner, right? Or store, yeah, involved in retail. All right, a couple more things this week. Stax continues with their box set reissues. This is number 5 in the series. I believe there's going to be 8 now of the Stax Volt series. These are awesome. 3 record sets. Carla Thomas, Otis Redding, Ruby Johnson, Barkays, Albert King, Sam and Dave. Just great classic soul stuff. And Stax Volt records are really something. If you don't really know the difference between them and some of the other labels, well, you just really need to check them out. It's like the true gritty raw soul of the 60s here, and beyond. And then also number 6. So there's 2. They've been doing 2 volumes at a time, so we're up to number 6 here. William Bell, Johnny Taylor, Rufus Thomas, yeah, C.L. Blast. These are awesome. Okay. All right. Okay, new releases. You're like, where are the new records? Well, there's a mix of things here. I got a lot of reissues again this week, so I'd say the big new release this week is probably the new King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard Phantom Island. This is the their main record that they've announced so far in 2025. Every year they've got 1 to 5 records that they release. This is on recycled black wax, but they kind of do these very eco-friendly covers. That's the actual album cover here if you find it online. But yeah, Phantom Island. And I heard that they are doing now, this is, by the way, the indie version, which has a photo print in it, which is kind of cool. They are not doing as many color vinyl, apparently, on some of this stuff. unless it's like special editions. Apparently, because they say that it's more ecologically friendly to stick to like the black wax stuff. So this is recycled black wax. But new King Gizzard, I wish they would also put their records out on CD. And this is something that, please, any King Gizzard management person that you're like watching this, I always have customers who are like looking for their stuff on CD. The early stuff that came out on the major labels is all out there, but all of the last, I don't know, 8 or 10 albums of theirs have not been released on CD. I know you want streaming numbers and all that, but I'm telling you right now that you would be selling a lot of those things if they were available to people. So consider. All right. Big things this week in the Rhino category. And there's a lot of Rhino stuff coming out in the future and this summer, but they're going all out. But some of these things came out in their hi-fi series. They were numbered and limited only, and now we're getting the actual sort of second run of them for actual brick and mortar stores. They didn't tell anybody that they were going to be doing this for the stores, so everybody sort of lost their minds online. And now you'll be able to get, at least for a little time, some of these. These were all remastered by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio, who does all the Blue Note and original jazz classics reissues. Black Sabbath, Paranoid. Now, earlier this year, we got the self-titled Black Sabbath reissue, and these have these nice obi strips. They're gatefold, so they're nice and sort of thick. Got these great spines on them. Really heavy-duty type covers, and really nice pressings. And I had numerous customers tell me that that version of Black Sabbath that came out earlier this year was the best sounding version of that they'd ever heard. And I think because they did such a good job with the mastering and the cutting of these records. So I think you can expect more of the same with this Black Sabbath. The other two that came out or coming out this week, Alice Cooper and Love It to Death. And this is Alice Cooper. There's a new Alice Cooper record coming out in a few weeks that actually is the original band. So people are really looking forward to that. I don't know if you can tell here, but this is the original cover with the thumb sticking out. Originally, that was edited out because they thought it looked too phallic, and so they didn't want to use it, which is kind of silly. But anyway, so Alice Cooper, Love It to Death. This was produced by Bob Ezrin, by the way, who ended up doing a lot of work with Peter Gabriel and people like that later on. Also, The Faces, Ooh La La. And this is another special Rhino Hi-Fi. This includes exclusive illustrated 4-panel insert featuring a new interview with producer Glenn Johns and Faces Kenny Jones. And these are all pressed at Optimal, which is a great pressing company in Germany. And so they're going to sound great. And these will be available for a little while. So if I run out of them for some reason, should be able to get more for a little while anyway. So, all right, other reissue this week, sort of a new reissue thing here, Grateful Dead and Greatest Hits. And it is a Greatest Hits album from the Grateful Dead. All the Dead's greatest studio hits on light blue vinyl. Very reasonable price at $27. $26.99. Features Truckin', Touch of Grey, Friend of the Devil, Sugar Magnolia, Box of Rain, Casey Jones, Scarlet Begonias, Fire on the Mountain, and Estimated Profit. And they're all sort of like the single versions of the songs. So there's Skeletons in the Closet, which is sort of an early era. And then this sort of covers their entire career kind of in like one very, very compact piece. But it's still cool that they did that, I think. A new record. See, I'm kind of switching back and forth this week. New record from Neil Young and the Chrome Hearts, which is his sort of band at the moment. Talkin' to the Trees, the new studio album, 10 new songs, including Big Change, produced by Lou Adler and Neil Young, on limited edition clear vinyl. So there's brand new Neil, not a reissue. I think the last thing that was new was Coastal, and that was sort of like a soundtrack type thing. Let's see, what else? Another new record. Surprise! Wu-Tang Clan and Black Samson, the Bastard Swordsman. This came out on Record Store Day. It was a deluxe edition. It had a limited cover art. It was like a 2 LP, I believe. It was expensive, but it was a nice limited edition. This is the regular edition, so if you didn't want to pony up $80 or whatever that was, this one's $40. Starring Mathematics, featuring the RZA, Inspector Deck, Method Man, Ghostface Killah, Raekwon, Master Killa, You God, Capadonna, and the Gizz. Also featuring Corrupt, Ralph McDaniels, Cool G Rap, Benny the Butcher, Nicole Buss, RJ Payne, 38 Spesh, Willie the Kid, and Cameron Corvée. How was that? I didn't do too badly there, right? Alright, so yeah, it's a new Woo record. And might be the last one. I don't know. You never know, right? If it does really well, which it sort of has been already, maybe there'll be more. As I mentioned earlier, Load box set for Metallica. They reissued a remastered version on vinyl as well. So that is out there. I'm trying to think of what the big hit from this was. Ain't My Bitch, maybe? Hero of the Day. There were a few singles, I think. Until It Sleeps, probably. King Nothing. All right. Let's see. The Cure. And so this is a remix album of the last album. So now we've had the album, the live version of the album, and now the remix version. And this has more mixes on it because it's a 2 LP edition. And it does have contributions from Orbital, Fortet, Paul Oakenfold, and more. You ask probably, why did Robert do this? I mean, he felt like he wanted to give this out to see what sort of interpretations would come back. There is a CD of this coming out. It was supposed to be out this week. It has now been bumped back a week, I believe. So, or yeah, I think a week. So anyway, we just have the vinyl for this initially. A brand new release from Van Morrison, his new album Remembering Now, and Van just keeps going. He's got how many albums now? I can't even tell you. 40, 50, maybe more. 14 brand new original tracks, including the single Down to Joy. What an extraordinary career. We all knew he was grumpy. It's too bad that recent political things have shown how grumpy he is, but he does have a song on here called Back to Writing Love Songs. So maybe somebody said, enough of the Facebook bashing. Can you just do like a regular album? And so that's maybe what this is. Remembering Now, Van Morrison. Reissue. This looks great. Ray LaMontagne and his album Trouble. This had actually been out of print for a couple of months while they were getting this edition together. This is the indie retail exclusive gatefold LP and poster insert on frosted orange vinyl. Trouble, the 20th anniversary remaster. Can you believe this album is 20 years old? I can't. I mean, I know he's had quite a few albums at this point, but that really puts time in perspective. Rilo Kiley, that's how we choose to remember it. This is kind of the greatest hits of Rilo Kiley, and we've got Jenny Lewis right here before breaking out into her sort of big solo career that she's had. Let's see. For the superfan and the curious alike, this is the band-curated entry point to the one and only Rilo Kiley, who defined a generation and continues to influence indie rock to this day. Indie legends, says Rolling Stone. Well, yes, I mean, they sort of have, the benefit of Jenny was a child actress that some people followed, but they did have or do have a lot of great songs. They're back out there on a reunion tour, so it's kind of cool to see that collection coming out. Jazz reissue, Roland Kirk and We Free Kings. He just had an album reissued by Verve Acoustic Sounds a couple months ago. Had Edith in the title, which I have a customer whose wife is Edith, and so that was great fun to see that. And this is his new reissue, the new Verve Acoustic Sounds. They like doing things in twos, so I'm surprised that this wasn't out at that time. But this one has Blues for Alice. So if your name is Alice, maybe you'll be wanting that. All right. Budos Band, number 7. So their 7th record. I love their artwork all the time. It's just every album has cool artwork. Limited edition color vinyl. The mighty Budos Band rumble back with a dynamic secret soundtrack to explore the uncharted, escaping civil confines of igniting creative conflagrations. Yet another hammer from this quarter-century old juggernaut of instrumental mayhem. Yeah, they're an instrumental band. They kind of get thrown in the jazz section, but they're not really jazz. They're kind of a mix of things. But I don't know. They're more sort of eclectic. Is that a genre we can kind of crown today as the eclectic genre? Right now. This is the new Bug Club album. Very human features. This cover is kind of wacky and graphic, sort of, so I won't flash it up there for too long, but loser edition on clear purple high dispersion vinyl. I think they're doing like some kind of a series of records, and the last one we had that, so here's another one. Older band now, Buckcherry, and this is Roar Like Thunder, and I think this is a new record for them. Sort of like Round Hill Records did this out of Nashville, produced by Marty Friedrichsen. There's a song called Talking About Sex. 10 tracks. New Buckcherry. Just sort of rock and roll, I suppose. And going back further, a little bit of a rock and roll from Skid Row, and reissued the first album. This is the multi-platinum debut, featuring Youth Gone Wild, 18 in Life, and I Remember You. So Skid Row back out on the street. Small Faces, and a reissue, sort of a greatest hits kind of hit singles collection is what this is called, done by Immediate Records. Charlie and BMG in the UK. Features Here Come the Nice, Itchy Park, Tin Soldier, Lazy Sunday, The Universal, Afterglow of Your Love, and then the B-sides, Talk to You, I'm Only Dreaming, I Feel Much Better, Rolling Over, Donkey Rides, A Penny of Glass, and Wham Bam Thank You Ma'am. So it's the A-sides and the B-sides. All right, kind of cool. Slow Crush, and this is a reissue of their record Aurora, Blue and Purple with Glitter, limited to 250 copies with a download card. So very limited. If there are any Slow Crush fans out there, they're sort of, I don't know, I call them like kind of art rock, like somewhat shoegazy. Oh boy. NKOTB and Step by Step. Well, this album was really big back in the day, and it's back out on vinyl. First time on vinyl in 35 years. You got your Donnie down there. Step by Step was such a big hit. So anyway, let's see. And Charlie Patton, a reissue of his Record Store Day release, Father of the Delta Blues, selections from the Paramount recordings. 12 classic cuts from the Paramount recordings. Pretty cool. And Shakira, Fijación Oral, Volume 2. And this was a big hit for her. And it's been out on vinyl before, but this is a color vinyl edition. Opaque bone color vinyl. So basically off-white. Featuring the smash hit Hips Don't Lie, featuring Wyclef, and 3 bonus tracks. It also has Illegal with Carlos Santana. Shakira's going to bring the sort of Latina summer vibes. All right. And this just looked too cool. I couldn't pass it up. What is Love by Hadaway. This is an extended EP single kind of thing. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Kind of fun on any disco platter for the summer. It does have the 12-inch mix of the song and the radio mix and a couple other singles from him. So, all right. And then a couple of CDs I want to mention that haven't shown up on vinyl yet. The new Nickelback CD, yes. No Fixed Address, featuring the song Edge of a Revolution. And something I'm really excited about, and it didn't show up on vinyl, and I'm hoping that it shows up soon. His first album in over 10 years, Patrick Wolf and Crying the Neck. Patrick is like kind of a art rocky guy, I'd say, sort of a crooner a little bit. Plays violin and keyboards, and I don't know, he kind of gets sort of lumped in with like people like Nick Cave, but I don't think he's quite as like gothy or dour as that. There is a gothy element, but he's more sort of like art rock, sort of maybe like chamber pop, chamber rock, kind of somewhere more like Mark Almond territory. So anyway, he's really great. It's good to see him back, because like I said, it's been 10 years. All right, guys, I wanted to spend the last few minutes here, instead of doing a recommend this week, I wanted to go over some of the new releases coming up. So you might want to get a pen and paper or take note as I'm talking about this, because I know some of you probably just listen to me and don't necessarily watch. It's like I'm a podcast, so I get that. All right, so June 20th, which is next week, the big releases I'm expecting probably will be Haim, the Trio of Sisters, have their new record. New record from Benson Boone. Yes, the Freddie Mercury jumper. Screamer. Lucas Nelson, Willie's son, has a new record. Government Mule with Warren Haynes. They have a new record. S.G. Goodman, sort of a singer-songwriter there. Youngblood. And like I said, the Cure Remix CD. There's a reissue from MJ Lenderman of an old EP that he did with, I think, some of the members of Wednesday. Gorillaz Tomorrow Comes Today EP is supposedly coming, and it might take a little longer because I think it might be an import. 2 Blue Note classics from Freddie Roach and Babyface Willette. And Greg Allman live CD, which I think the vinyl's coming a little later. All American Rejects reissue, Three Doors Down reissue, Gnarls Barkley reissue, Quicksand reissue, stuff from US Girls, Tropical Frickstorm, and Julian Cope. And then I think also the David Sylvian, if you miss Snowborn Sorrow, his 5 Horses album that was a record store day only in Europe a couple years back, that is actually being released more worldwide. So that's coming out. Excuse me, June 27th. This is kind of a big week. It's the week of the Springsteen box set, Tracks 2. Now, again, you're going to have to let me know if you want that, because the CDs run about $300 and the vinyl $400. It's 7 CDs or 8 records, all unreleased material from like 1981, 82 through 2000. So quite a bit of stuff unreleased there. There's also a highlights version of that will be coming out. Lord's new album comes out that day. Playboy Carti will be available on vinyl. The F1 soundtrack. Frank Zappa has something a little like mini box set type thing coming out. Billy Wood's album is that day. Lee Morgan has an OJC release. Buddy Guy has a Verve Acoustic Sounds that day. There are three Rhino Reserve titles coming out that day. Baby Huey's big album, an album by the Meters, and Otis Redding, Otis Blue. All of those come out that day. Other reissues on the 27th would be Durand Jones, Robert Randolph, The Swell Season, Live Muna record, or Muna. M83 have a soundtrack. Barbra Streisand, Rod Stewart's best. Streisand is duets, by the way. And Motorhead have a reissue. Turnpike Troubadours and that Greg Allman live at Uncle Sam's on vinyl. All right, moving on to July 4th. So July 4th is complicated because the store is going to be closed from the 3rd through the 8th. So if you're interested in this stuff and you're sort of like a loyal customer, I hope that you will be willing to wait until the 9th to get some of this stuff. It's really just the course of a weekend. It's a holiday weekend. We're usually closed on the 4th anyway, which is a Friday this year. Why they choose to release things on a holiday when everybody's going to be closed, that makes no sense. And then that weekend, people are going to be out doing like the beach and camping and stuff. They're not going to be, I mean, there might be a few, but anyway, so we're closed. So these will be coming soon after. So basically, there are the 6 Doors albums on Rhino Hi-Fi. So that means all 6 of them. I'm talking like Strange Days, Waiting for the Sun, the things that I showed you earlier with the Obi strips, the really nice versions of them. They're all coming out then. 2 tone poets, Blue Note tone poets, Dexter Gordon and Sam Rivers, both coming out then. And then Elektra is also doing a 75th anniversary series, and that day they're releasing album reissues. So they're all albums you can get, but they're special editions, color vinyl. Anita Baker, Afghan Wigs, Nancy Griffith, Sisters of Mercy, Public Image Limited, Television, Third Eye Blind, The Stooges, Keith Sweat, Tim Buckley, Bread, and Grover Washington Jr. Why all of those have to come out on the 4th, I don't know. Also, the new Kesha album, which she's on her own label now. The new Minecraft movie soundtrack, the one that featured Jack Black. And then Richard Ashcroft of The Verve has 3 albums being reissued then. They might actually come the next week anyway because they're all imports, and I doubt those will be shipping too much over that weekend. Giles and Fripp reissue a John Wetton CD live thing, also an import. So it's kind of a mixed bag of a weekend. But anyway, I just want you guys to be aware of all that. Oh, and also there's a live Wu-Tang Clan release that day. So, all right. So early July is kind of a mess, but sort of by the time July 9th hits, things are going to be getting kind of busy again. July 11th, big release day in some ways. There's the new Wet Leg, which we've been waiting, 3 years for that at this point. The new Clips album. There's a whole bunch of Billy Joel reissues that day, and that includes up through the last River of Dreams, which is very hard to get. It's the second era of Billy, so some of those albums are probably like already out there quite a bit, but those last 1 or 2, Stormfront and River of Dreams, are definitely wanted. And then his Greatest Hits album, Greatest Hits Volume 2, that's coming out in a reissue in August. I think August 11th also. So a busy summer for Billy Joel. They just announced a Mac Miller reissue of an early EP or early album mixtape from 2011. That's coming out on vinyl for the first time on July 11th. Other things would be live Teskey Brothers, live Steve Hackett, The Sundays are reissuing Static and Silence on vinyl. So one of their other albums, other than the first one. And also, there are two Rhino hi-fis coming out that day. The Cars, I believe their first album, and Television's Marquee Moon. Two more Rhino hi-fis that have been heavily wanted by people who are not into buying online direct from companies like that. I don't know. I don't understand Rhino's sort of marketing strategy here. It's sort of like take as much for ourselves at first and then let the stores have it. But I'm just glad they're doing it. Whatever, whatever, people want these things. Other albums coming out then, Mary Chapin Carpenter's Come On, Come On is being reissued. Jethro Tull's Still Living in the Past. There are other things like Thomas Dolby's Mind's Eye. So that's kind of a mixed week. Backstreet Boys Millennium, the album with I Want It That Way, with extra material. 311 is having a reissue of their self-titled album, and Rusted Root also. And I just saw something from Grey Days, which is the sort of spin-off Linkin Park that featured Chester Bennington, his other band. So anyway, the 11th is sort of a big week. The 18th, there's quite a bit on the 18th. We didn't used to get much in July, and it seems like a lot of things have moved more to July because they realize that people are sort of off and have more time to listen to records. And so Alex G's new album comes out that day. Lord Huron, Joe Bonamassa, Bush, and actually a Sly and the Family Stone reissue. The one that was the Record Store Day one is coming out again. Things like Laura Jane Grace, Paris, Fletcher, sort of like other pop people. And then two Blue Note classics, Donald Byrd and Eddie Henderson, are on July 18th. July 25th, big week. Talking Heads box set for more songs about buildings and food. Their second album, the one that featured Take Me to the River, I believe. Is that right? I think so. The Alice Cooper record I mentioned earlier, the one that features the original band. Mazzy Star have two reissues that day. Among My Swan and She Hangs Brightly are both on vinyl, and they're very hard to get. The only one that I've had for a while has been So Tonight That I Might See. So if you like dream pop and sort of that kind of thing. Beck, not the one I was hoping for. I mean, I'm really wanting Midnight Vultures, but they're giving us Midnight Gold, not Midnight Gold, Mellow Gold, the first Beck album, the one with Loser. Finally, like, talk about a 90s iconic album. Get it out there. Hopefully Midnight Vultures is on the way. A couple of Tyler, the Creator reissues, a new Devon Allman. The Jerry Garcia is starting a series of live records. The live CD, the complete, comes out July 25th, but only the first part on vinyl is coming out. The others come in October and December. So, and those are like $70 sets. So it's nice to spread those out a little bit. There's a Benny Golson OJC coming out July 25th. Reissues from Marina, Love, The Cars, Shake It Up. There's a Rhino reserve of that coming out. There's a new Paul Weller, a new Indigo D'Souza, an OJC of Eric Dolphy, the Clueless soundtrack. Alison Krauss has a collection being reissued. New Patty Griffin, Buena Vista Social Club on Broadway. Sort of skipping around here. Bill Evans, Wes Montgomery, Cal Tjader, like lots of reissues that week. All right, and then sort of more in the future. Find my list here. If we're looking towards what's coming, like August and beyond, and most of these are August things here, so get ready because this is kind of an exciting, hot, like heated August. I think there's a lot. Black Keys, Jid, Ethel Cain, Sabrina Carpenter, new album now, August 29th. Molly Tuttle, Alison Goldfrapp, Leve, uh, uh, trying to remember her name now. Kathleen Edwards, The Hives, Suede, Sophie Ellis Bextor, Ed Sheeran, uh, Lizzo, possibly, Saint Etienne, Ivy. And the Ivy is really interesting. It's actually using Adam Schlesinger's original tracks for every song, or he was in part of every song. So they did include him. He passed away during COVID. So that's very cool that they did that. Margot Price has a new record. King Princess, Big Thief. Now we're kind of getting into September. Kate LeBon, Madonna has a remix record. Lizzo, around okay, so they're mentioning there's a Prince on the way. It might be later, but there's supposed to be a deluxe Around the World in a Day coming out. Other records: Shame, 21 Pilots, Superchunk, Hailstorm, Lana Del Rey, Mac DeMarco, Janet Jackson. Who haven't I mentioned? Gorillaz, Glenn Hughes, Wolf Alice, Ron Sexsmith, Jenny Beth. It's a lot of stuff, people. And then a possible Brian Wilson record, too. That might be put on hold. I have no idea. But his name has appeared on lots of upcoming release schedules. So it is a lot of stuff. All right. And but I just wanted to kind of give you my best sort of outlook on what it seems like the nearest future has in store for us. So I hope you appreciated that instead of a recommend this week. I mean, there's always things I can recommend. Just talk to me. Okay. And hey, have a great week and have a lovely weekend. And I know there's going to be a lot of activity around the country, but try to get some time for yourself too and balance it and play a record, enjoy life a little bit. I know that the world will stress you out. So, and it's understandable, but have a good time, and we'll see you again next week for the 20th. All right. Peace. Take care. All right. Be safe.